The one true shame of any Suicide Squad movie is that their team lineup will never ever come close to rivaling the sheer unpredictability and diversity of the comics themselves. Because the Suicide Squad has had some members that you couldn't predict, given 100 years and a list of every DC character ever. Not only does the series occasionally flirt with the idea of having superheroes in it, but it also uses villains seemingly too powerful to be forced into a government crack squad and makes them a part of Task Force X. After all, the Suicide Squad are meant to be a shadowy Black Ops unit. Throwing a hero in there is bound to raise ethical questions, while throwing in a heavy hitter doesn't really speak to covert action either. That said, it's not as though anyone is going to complain about seeing Power Girl or General Zod making a surprise appearance in a comic, so the sky is truly the limit for whoever finds themselves marshalling the squad's next adventure. You think you know Josh Brown, do you? Well, his real name is the Bongo Baron, and he's flown a dozen sorties to Task Force X. And the fun thing is, you can't dispute that, because there have been so many absurdly named squad members over the years. So let's take a look at the most unexpected members of all, shall we? I'm Ewan, this is What Culture Comics, and here are 10 DC characters you didn't know joined the Suicide Squad. Number 10, Penguin. In an alternate universe, the Penguin would still be in the Suicide Squad, as he joined the team in issue 5. Which is early enough that, had he done less well as a Batman villain, he easily could have become the beloved underdog of Amanda Waller's crack squad of villains. Although he would have been a drastically different character, as during his time in the team, Penguin is something of a joke figure, lacking the sinister undertone and menace that was built up over time in the main Batman series. Instead, we see a semi-terrified Penguin reluctantly agree to carry out a single mission for Waller that sees him join the rest of the squad incognito in Russia. After almost sabotaging the plan several times, the team return home, battered, bruised, and most importantly, furious at Oswald, who had served as more of a hindrance than a help along the way. As such, it was maybe the best for everyone when Cobblepot did return home to Gotham, as his talents in fighting and espionage were evidently limited. Number 9, Solomon Grundy. Solomon Grundy has actually existed in the Suicide Squad twice, once in the actual Suicide Squad comic in 2018, and once 12 years prior in Superman Volume 2 number 182. The exact reason why Grundy was used once and then removed from the roster for over a decade is unclear, especially as both of the grey-skinned Goliath's appearances make it clear that he would have added both extra threat and extra character to the squad, were he ever to be recruited permanently. Superman number 182 sees Solomon briefly contracted to try and scare Lois Lane off releasing a story about Lex Luthor, although it's never quite explained exactly why Waller has randomly recruited Grundy for this single mission and never another. In Suicide Squad number 35 to 36, Grundy once again just shows up, as though he's been secretly benched by Waller all this time in order to take out Damage, DC's answer to the Hulk. In fact, with issue 36 showing what appears to be Solomon in a stasis chamber, he may literally have been stashed away by her during this time, although this does raise some questions as to whether they're continually releasing him back into Gotham after they're done with him. Number 8, The Question. In a move that could come as a surprise for even people who saw the character in the comics, Suicide Squad managed to feature the Question without properly featuring the question, because the New 52 had to target me specifically, evidently. After the New 52 reboot, Vic Sage appeared in the Suicide Squad comics, usurping Amanda Waller's role as leader of the team after she was blamed for the Trinity War by her bosses. Crucially, Vic Sage is the name of none other than the Question, aka my favorite hero ever, who notably did not appear in costume at all around the time Vic worked with the squad, suggesting that the timeline reboot resulted in a universe where he no longer had his superhero alias. Because everything sucked still, obviously. While the Question reappeared after Rebirth, thank God, it seems a shame he no longer has any ties to the Suicide Squad whatsoever, as a proper team-up would make for an absolutely fantastic comic. Number 7, Deadshot 2. Following the commercial success of the Suicide Squad film, Deadshot is perhaps the most well-known member of the Suicide Squad, alongside Harley Quinn. However, what is less known is that, in the comics, there were technically 2 Deadshots, the original, Floyd Lawton, and the man trained to be his replacement, Will Evans. Through Evans, we learn that Floyd's tragic backstory is actually one he ripped off from Will, and that instead of his family being accidentally shot down during a gang shooting, Lawton's family are alive, except for his brother, who the assassin inadvertently murdered when trying to kill his father. After Floyd flees the mission to finally finish off his dear old dad, Evans tracks him down and ends up successfully sniping him, earning him the title of Deadshot. The title is temporary, however, as Floyd comes back to earn his rightful name by killing Will Evans once and for all. Number 6, Poison Ivy. As a plant-human hybrid who needs the sun's rays in much the same way any plant does, Poison Ivy was bribed into joining the Suicide Squad through perhaps the most inexpensive method ever, by offering her sunlight, which, to be fair, is a pretty good opportunity for us in the North. And so, Suicide Squad number 33 sees the Lady of Leaves join the team of villains in order to get a little bit of vitamin D. Even wilder yet, she optionally chooses to stay later on, after accidentally betraying the team, meaning that Pamela Isley was also technically one of few villains to willingly be on the Suicide Squad. While it's barely remembered now, Poison Ivy's time in the squad is undeniably interesting and would be atop of a list of characters who could, and should, potentially be brought back, especially because she was in the team for a surprisingly long time. Number 5. Vixen. After killing a drug-dealing kingpin that the Suicide Squad had been sent to capture, Vixen willingly joined their ranks, disgusted with the lack of control she had over her animalistic nature, with Waller agreeing to help Mari find a way to restrain her animalistic urges in exchange for her joining the team. Vixen would work as a member of Task Force X until Waller initially disbanded it, and even then would return to the roster after learning the newly reassembled group contained her love interest, the Bronze Tiger. After this romance went sour, Vixen would also sour on the Suicide Squad themselves, eventually leaving to work with the Birds of Prey and the Justice League Task Force. However, she may have never been able to join those teams without the assistance Waller gave her in understanding her powers and rage. So her time in the squad was clearly invaluable, if only the character was given more time in the spotlight in the years since. Number 4. Power Girl. When portions of the Suicide Squad and their leader Amanda Waller are kidnapped by their longtime antagonist Rustam, the remaining government officials turn to whatever methods are remaining in order to rescue their missing operatives. In an unusual twist, these methods involve blackmailing portions of the JSA into joining the remaining Suicide Squad for a rescue mission, which would see Power Girl temporarily join the team. Surprisingly, the hero is actually pretty relaxed about the whole working with people who would kill you in a heartbeat thing, acting as the voice of reason against her fellow JSA members, who are considerably less chill about teaming up with serial killers. As such, she actually appears to get on with the villainous members of the Suicide Squad, trading banter and quips with them like she would any of her more morally righteous pals, although notably giving the team a wide berth after the mission was completed. Number 3. Hawkman. Introduced alongside Power Girl, Hawkman was also made a part of the Suicide Squad's Task Force Omega, when a portion of the Justice Society was forced into working with them to break Amanda Waller out of prison. Somewhat hilariously, this involves the usually moral Hawkman teaming up with the two villains that were, at the time, the most brutal members of the team, that of Killer Frost and Deadshot, who had a joint kill streak that would make the Death Star positively green with envy. Whereas Power Girl more willingly works with the assorted heroes and villains, Hawkman is far more irritable about it, repeatedly insisting that the Justice Society of America they are officially representing would never do such a thing. Although these complaints fall on deaf ears, as he still ends up a part of the team. Number 2. Black Adam. One of the delightful assortment of never-do-wells introduced in Suicide Squad number 58, Black Adam was, surprisingly, not a reluctant member to the team. Although, given he stuck around for a resounding single issue, he was also clearly not the squad's biggest fan. Black Adam's time in the team consists of him convincing Amanda Waller into letting him borrow the Suicide Squad for yet another supposedly unwinnable battle, this time against villain Cersei's invading armies, which are attempting to once again take over the world. Although Waller isn't keen on lending out her team of murderers, she eventually signs off on them going on Teth's mission, so long as Black Adam also joins the team. That said, Waller does address the fact that it appears as though Black Adam's actual intentions are to use the Suicide Squad to draw fire, leaving him free to go after Cersei with minimal interruptions. Even with this in mind, it's still one of the villain's more nobly intentioned plans, so success? Number 1. General Zod. One of the most difficult acquisitions to the Suicide Squad, General Zod's introduction into the group can only be described as the full Waller treatment, named as such because it's absolutely brutal from the start. Fearing his great powers and potential capacity for destruction, Waller had scientists implant a kryptonite bomb into Zod's head, which worked much the same way as the regular bombs in the other Suicide Squad members' heads, in the sense that it forced him to either work on the team or have an exploded head. While Zod is understandably furious at what has happened, he's also not an idiot, and so agrees to join the squad in exchange for his life. This cooperative Zod doesn't last long, going on one whistle-stop tour of violence before burning the bomb out of his own head with laser vision, but the one mission the General is on is so wonderfully violent that it almost makes up for him working with the Suicide Squad for such a short amount of time. And that was our list. Who do you think was the most surprising member to join the Suicide Squad? Be sure to share some members down in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. You can find more articles like this at whatculture.com/comics, more of me on Twitter at EwanRuinsThings, and more of the stories found within this list at your local comic book store. For now though, have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!